Hello and welcome back once again. We are continuing off with our Tau stealth armor suits here. Last time we kind of focused on our leader, the one with the antenna, as opposed to the other two we have. And today I kind of want to finish them off, and then we'll see how far we can get with the other two. First and foremost, I did do a little bit of cleanup. I fixed some of the details that I really just didn't want to bother with making you guys have to watch through. So hopefully that'll let us get right into our kind of pin washing, which I want to try out. So with this, we're going to be doing Null Oil. I kind of debated doing either that or Agrax Earthshade, and I kind of settled on Null Oil being just the uh, more useful of the washes. Now, if I wanted something like kind of to dirty this up and make it look a little bit more off-white, I definitely would have gone with the Agrax, but with this I just want to do kind of all of the little lines in between all of the panels, and I really want to accentuate those basically. And this is going to be a little bit of a process, but basically I'm just going to go through and let that wash just kind of go right into all of the recesses as we kind of guide it through with our brush here. And I'm not doing this in any specific order. I'm kind of just finding lines where we see them and filling them in, as opposed to doing this more methodically. And I don't have to get all of them. I just kind of want to get a majority of these little recesses to kind of help accentuate all of these little cracks and crevices that we have without having to go in and really do any shading or edge highlighting, anything like that. This is going to make it much quicker and kind of much more natural looking. And of course, I also want to focus on the torso kind of the most here. It's kind of our main focal point, as well as the shoulders, but we'll get through them slowly but surely. It's just going to be a little bit of a process. Thankfully, though, it's very easy to do, especially with the kind of new recipe of Null Oil. I'm kind of on the fence about how I feel about it. I know the older recipe was a little bit better, and it was kind of more in line with like Streaking Grime, which I think is AK Interactive, Interactive, AK. I'm not sure what their company technically is called. It's AK something, but it's their paint line, and they do a thing called Streaking Grime, which is basically Null Oil but amped up by like 100. It's very useful if you want that more kind of grim dark feel, and I highly suggest looking into it. I've seen a ton of tutorials that use it, and it looks absolutely astonishing every single time. Unfortunately, I haven't really gotten my hands on it yet, but that will be something I want to get in the future. So definitely we'll keep an open mind for that. But if Grimdark is more your style, that's definitely a must-have in my opinion. Fortunately for me, I kind of like to go with the more sleeker, kind of right off the factory floor kind of look with a lot of my models. So it's Grimdark is something we'll do eventually. Same thing with like Slap Chop and all of the other different kinds of painting. But for now, we're just going to keep focused on my traditional style here, going more with kind of the box art feel for a lot of these guys. I'm not sure what the style you want to call it is. It's more in line with like the heavy metal painters that GW has, which those guys are absolutely phenomenal. If you ever just go and look through like even codexes, or just like if you go on the website and look at all of the painted models they have, there's some astonishing work. Those guys definitely masters of their craft. I cannot you know celebrate them enough. They do some absolutely great work, especially in the codexes. Like I don't know if I'm sure a bunch of you guys who are into the hobby and who have been playing for a while know what I'm talking about. But for some of you guys who are newer, especially with Warhammer getting kind of more popular recently, definitely check out some of the codexes, like the Space Marines or Imperial Guard. They have some really good ones, and just look at like the artwork for like the armies that they showcase. They do some great armies on display sort of things. And I forget, it's the core like rule book for, I think, what are we on now? 10th? 11th? I don't even remember. um, but I got it with the Leviathan box, and I just looked through some of the art they have. And of course, they have like every faction for the most part, and they're just stunning. Absolutely stunning. Especially like the Tyranids. They had some really great work on that. So definitely check that out if that's not something you've done already. I'm sure you can find all the pictures on like Google or whatever. But yeah, definitely something to look into. Speaking of art, this is kind of something that I haven't really done recently, but I used to really be into. Um, it kind of changed a little bit once I like got out of high school, but when I was in like grade school, I really liked the strategy guides that you could get with games. Like, and it didn't matter like what it was. If I played a game, I probably had the strategy guide, like the official like Prima. I think they changed the like main publisher they use now. I forget what they're called, but it used to be Prima, and they had like tons of just like little bits of like kind of background lore and like artwork and whatnot. And I used to buy them, and I just kind of read them, like probably more than I actually played the games they came with. But as I got older, that focus kind of went more towards like art books, specifically like the Dark Souls books. They have some really great kind of art compendiums that came out alongside the games. And man, if you've never picked up one of those, they're pretty cheap usually. I think I got like all three of the main Dark Souls series art books for like, I don't know, maybe $70 total. But it has like tons of stuff, and they'll usually have like developer interviews and kind of concept art and unused assets and all sorts of great stuff. And it's always just really interesting for me to look through. So that's if you appreciate the art more than anything with Warhammer, definitely check that out. Because I didn't even know that was like a thing until a few years ago. I think Dark Souls was the first one I got, and then Zelda kind of had an art book that came out with Breath of the Wild. That's a really good one. It was called like the Hyrule Compendium or something. Really, really interesting stuff. Highly suggest it. And of course, you can find out a lot more kind of about the lore and background of your favorite games that way. So definitely check that out. But I think we have one more little line I want to do here, and then we should be kind of wrapped up with this guy. And then we'll do the little drone we have as well, and then we'll move on to doing some more actual painting instead of just washes here. And I might even change up this antenna a little bit. It feels a little bit bland. I might throw some like blue or silver on there. But we'll kind of save that for a minute, and we'll focus on some other things first. Because I feel like we've been working on that one guy for like 2 episodes straight. So we'll definitely take a little bit of a breather with that. And for this one, it's pretty much going to be much more straightforward. We're just going to follow the circle all the way around. And if I could be a little bit more neat with it, that'd be nice. Once it dries, you won't really be able to tell that I went outside the lines, but we'll keep doing what we do here as neatly as possible. And perfect. And we'll just follow it around right back into the silver here. We might even go on the underside and see if there's any kind of little recesses. I don't really think there are. At least nothing that would really be visible, so we probably won't have to do anything there. And actually, at some point, I need to finish up this drone. He has like a little flashlight or like laser on him there on the underside that I just kind of forgot about. So we'll definitely take a peek at that, and we'll see if we can't fix that up a little bit. Last time I talked about it a tiny bit, and let me see if I can't brush that off a little bit. I spilled way too much there. Last time I talked about it, but I think I mentioned Space Wolves are probably going to be my next project. Just kind of looking around on my desk, I have a few models that I need to do as well, that I have kind of assembled and ready to go. I have a Stormcast Eternal. I don't technically know what the model is. I'll actually show it for you here in just a second. Um, he's this little dude with like a hammer. He kind of looks like a chaplain from 40K. I don't know. If you know what that model is called, let me know. I'm just gonna do it as a kind of stock standard Stormcast Eternal how-to, but maybe in the future it'll be nice to be able to quickly identify him. And then after that, I don't know what we're gonna do. I have plenty of more Tau, but I kind of want to take a little bit of a break before I jump back into them. Of course, I got the combat patrol, so I have like a ton of, I think they're called Pathfinders. I do not know. They're just like the standard infantry, not the Kroot. I hate Kroot. I definitely avoided getting them. And at some point, I think I need to buy some new models. I definitely want to explore some new armies. Custodes, of course, being one of them. I really like Custodes lore. Recently, they've really kind of dragged me in. Thousand Suns, off the back of Space Marine 2, I've really gotten into them as well. The All Is Dust book was great, and, I really want to check them out. And then I'm not really sure. Space Marines wise, I think I want to look into probably some Raven Guard or Blood Angels. I've been seeing a lot of people painting up Furiosa Dreadnoughts and Venerable Dreads, and I kind of want to do a Blood Angels Dreadnought list, so we'll kind of check that out. Otherwise, though, we're just kind of winging it. I don't have any like real set plan for how I'm moving forward, but I'm just kind of painting things that I find unique. I do want to do some more Imperial Guard in the future. I want to pick up another Sentinel. Unfortunately, I have one that I already did, but this was before I started recording, and it was probably one of my favorite models to paint, like ever. They're just so much fun, and they're really easy to highlight and look nice, so I definitely want to pick up another one of those at some point. Other than that, though, I really do not have any kind of solid plan going forward, so if you guys have any suggestions, feel free to let me know. I'm always open for pretty much anything. Except the Kroot, of course. I think their models look absolutely goofy. Just kidding. If you guys like Kroot, that's cool, but they just aren't my cup of tea. And once we do the other side of this gun, we should be done with this guy. And that'll be kind of the end of our washes for today. And then we'll move on to kind of cleaning up some of our other models. Perfect. He looks pretty solid, actually. I like him with a little bit of recess highlighting, I guess, for lack of a better word. And as we kind of peek the microphone, closing it up, we will move on. I think we'll take a look at this little guy. And kind of first and foremost, I want to do some stuff with the legs there, and I think actually the legs might be fine. The backpack does need some work though, so we're going to move on to that. We're actually getting pretty close to finishing up our squad here, which is great. I am looking very much forward to moving on to another project. Not that I'm not enjoying painting these guys, but I feel like you guys are getting a little bit fatigued of it, which is perfectly fine. I don't expect you to sit around for 20 episodes watching me paint one model, or one squad at least. But I do like to finish off projects that I start, so I'll at least see this through to the end. And do the underside here, nice and easy. And I'm not sure, I feel like I'm missing something every time I look at these, like the insides of these little backpacks. So they look pretty horrible. I don't think there's anything else that really attaches to them, but it just looks rough. I don't know. I don't. Usually there's something you could put on to cover that, for little exhaust ports like that, but I don't think these guys really had that option. So it just seems like kind of a weird oversight, a big ugly area that I really don't know what to do with, other than just kind of paint it and hope for the best. And we will also get this little area, and then we'll come back with our lead belcher highlight. Hopefully we'll have time for it at least. I do want to kind of tag team these last two models, so we'll kind of be switching back and forth in between them and kind of finishing up as quickly as we can. Something I also mentioned either last episode or the one before it was the new Call of Duty. I really wasn't having a great time with it. I'm still not. and it has gotten to the point where I just said, forget it. I just deleted it off my hard drive because it was taking up space. And honestly, I can't be bothered. It was not a enjoyable time. The game itself is fine, but good lord, the player base is just. I feel like I'm too old to, keep up with the new generation of gamers, I guess. And it's definitely a skill issue. It's nothing wrong with the game, but it's not my cup of tea. I much prefer something a little bit slower paced, like Battlefield or something. Um, I really wanted to get into Hell Let Loose. That game looked great. I mean, it theoretically it is great. It should be exactly up my alley. World War II, I think. It's one of the great wars. I'm not really sure. I didn't play enough to really figure it out. Um, I think I had a Garand, the one map that I played, so it was definitely World War II. Um, but I played a little bit of it, and by all accounts, it should be something that I fell in love with. But good lord, just getting from point A to point B, running across the map, and it takes a hot minute, and then you just show up to wherever the objective is, and you just get domed by someone you can't even see because you don't have sights on your weapon, and I'm pretty blind anyway, is not fun to me. On paper, I like the realism aspect. In practice, not really. And it does make me a little bit sad. Um, but there you go. So, yeah, Hell Let Loose. If you're into it, great. It's something I want to be into. And with Battlefield being too fast paced for me, you'd think that would be kind of the natural direction I want to go. But no, I'm kind of holding out hope for a new Battlefield that'll kind of bridge the gap between the two. So I do like a little bit of realism in my shooters, but at the same time, like make it fun. I really don't want to feel like I'm an actual, infantryman trudging up through the trenches for 20 minutes at a time just to get domed. It's really not an enjoyable experience for me. I did play this game called Enlisted for a hot minute, which is kind of fun. It was a little bit jank though, and the AI in it is kind of terrible. Otherwise, I would have really had a lot more fun with it. It's kind of like a mix of Battlefield and Hell Let Loose, which was great. I really enjoyed a few matches, and then just the AI being dumb killed it for me. But it's much more kind of realistic and gritty. It's another World War II shooter. You control a squad, which is cool. It's a cool concept. And AI controls the units in your squad that you're not playing as, but you get to like switch between them freely, which is kind of cool. But unfortunately, like you can get tons of kills in that game, and they just do not feel rewarding because you're just killing bots. It is really really dull. Um, but that's another game that I hope gets rectified in the future because I do want to enjoy it, but it just dooms itself in a manner of speaking. So yeah, that's kind of my history with shooters right now. Just not having a good time of it. But moving on, we are going to be switching back to silver for a hot second here. And actually, I know I said I was done with our first model, but we are going to be switching back to silver and moving back to this guy just for a second, just to clean up his gun barrel a little bit. The I don't even want to call them the kind of I don't know gun terminology, like the little barrels here themselves, the muzzles. Sorry, I really really just went brain dead there for a second. They have not been painted yet, and I want to rectify that ever so slightly. Just a real quick layer of lead belcher, and then we will be done. And then, of course, we have the backpacks on our other guys we want to clean up, and then we are going to be getting pretty close to finishing them as well. We'll just have to give them washes. In terms of basing, I'm not going to be doing basing on these guys yet. For our Tau, I kind of want like a more, either like a alien kind of like high contrast base, like some purples and neons, like they're on like an alien planet, or I want something more like Martian and kind of more gritty and grounded. Either one of those things I do not have the basing materials for yet though, so we're not going to be messing with that. Maybe in the future we'll come back once we kind of get more of our Tau units done, and we'll just do them all in one go. But for now, I don't have any current plans to do any videos around that until I get that stuff ordered at least, and that is probably going to be a while. It's pretty low on my list of priorities in terms of models and stuff. Another model I want to get actually that I forgot to mention entirely is the Sanguinor and the Sanguinary Guard. I really don't like the way that they butchered them. I miss the really big wings, but I do like the new models, regardless of that. I know a lot of people don't like the heads for some reason, or like the faces. I think they're fine. They're not as cool as the old ones. I'll kind of grant them that. Um, but they still look pretty decent on their own, I feel like. So that's definitely something I want to add to my list of models I want to pick up. And then there is that Battle Force coming out for Dark Angels. I'm kind of on the fence about it. I have the Lion already, and I've already painted him. Unfortunately, he's painted like an ultramarine, which is disgusting, I know. Uh, but at the time when I got him, I didn't have a Dark Angel army, so he didn't fit with my theme. So I might pick him up again, and then we'll do like a whole tutorial on him. That might be kind of fun. But I'm still kind of on the fence about it for now, because I do like the Terminators, but then I'd have two of the line, so I don't know. I really don't know. I'm super on the fence about it. But if you guys want to watch me paint the lion, definitely leave a comment, and I'll lean more towards it. Otherwise, though, for now, we're going to leave things off. As always, I want to mention real quick, I have a Patreon, link in the description, and as well, if you guys want me to do commissions, feel free to send me an email. Link is also in the comments. Otherwise, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. It helps me out greatly. And other than that, all I really can say is thank you guys very much for watching. Hopefully, I will see you in the next episode.